next up, we've got a special treat because Elis, James and I met each other way back in the mists of 2005, and we have a number of long-running disputes. The most violent of which is whether or not, when making coffee in a French press, you should stir or not stir the grounds. People have gone to war for less. It's the big sort of, it's the crack between us, Elis, and has led to what we're going to do now, which is
the Cafetiere Challenge.
It is time to put this to rest, finally, with Vin as the arbitrator of coffees. We've both brought in our chosen cafetieres. Mine has been with me since before I met you, Elis. So has more memories attached. It was with me at university. It's been with me in all of my houses I've lived in.
You could have washed it, mate.
Oh, you could have brought your own coffee. Ellis, arrogant, thought that coffee would be provided because he is in the upper class. And I brought my own.
I didn't bring my own coffee because I thought we needed a controlled coffee, because the debate is whether you should stir the coffee or not on the quality of the coffee. I thought, what if Robin spends 10 quid on some, Colombian Java or something, and then
Blue Mountain.
Or Blue Mountain, or whatever. I thought that's then an unfair test. That's like comparing, it's like the F1, comparing the driver challenge to the sort of the car makes. What's that word?
The championship, Constructors' Championship.
Constructors' Championship, exactly, thank you. Sorry, I didn't know about F1. I didn't know enough to carry that through. Because it even says on my cafetiere, hot fluids must be handled with care, okay. Always use ground coffee, no problem. Press down very gently. Always stir before pressing down. So even the good people at Bodum, who made this cafetiere, agree with me, John, you're an idiot.
They've clearly never tasted coffee from the legend that don't stir it, because my argument is and will remain that good coffee comes from pushing hot water through dense ground coffee at high pressure. Ellis, it's impossible to create that scenario if you have stirred the grounds and they've all gone to the bottom. Why not then? Why have the press at all? Why not just pour it through a sieve and eat it off the floor like a common junkie? Come on.
Because you need to stir it, because otherwise it's too weak, because the stirring is
Oh, you are going to learn a lesson in the weakness and strength of relative coffee production methods.
Well, I worked during the transitional period between having a real job and going full-time as a stand-up comic. I had a 3-day job a week at a cafe that has now gone bust, but that wasn't my fault. That was the fault of the positioning of the cafe in Cardiff, which meant that we didn't get very many people walking past us, and I learned a lot of stuff, mate. The Cardiff Coffee Company, they used to give us tutorials on making coffee, and I've visited New Zealand where they take it incredibly seriously. I've learned from the masters. You're going to eat your words.
Well, we will decide whose words are being eaten, because Vin is going to eat our coffee. So what we're going to do is, during this next track, me and Ellis are going to make our respective cafetieres. Vin there will be the arbitrator, and fine. Is there a prize for this, Dave?
Not really, no.
Two half-drunk cups of coffee
pride,
to the winner. It's pride and bragging rights for the rest of eternity. But before then, we've got music from U2. This is Invisible.
Elis, James and John Robbins podcast
XFM.
on XFM.
Invisible by U2. You're listening to Elis, James and John Robbins on XFM. It's time for
the Cafetiere Challenge.
Ellis, I mean, what you have just done in making that cafetiere, my mum would go wild. You've stirred, you're already pressing, it hasn't brewed.
Well, I thought we were drinking it now, so
When it's ready, mate. I mean, mine's over there. It's still got a minute to go before the press. Obviously, with this stirring tactic, doesn't matter. You might as well just eat the coffee and pour the water in your mouth and swill it round.
Well, I would have given it another minute. I just thought that this was a shorter link than it's clearly going to be. So great. That's made me look a right idiot.
Yeah, well, Ellis has made his bed. He's going to have to lie in it. You're not going to pull the plunger back up, are you?
No, that would be an absolute... Oh, we've had a text in. You shouldn't stir coffee.
Excellent. 1-0. And whatever you may think, this is great radio. Two men making contrasting cafetières of coffee without a webcam. It's theatre of the mind, ladies and gentlemen. So what I'm going to do, Vin, seeing as Vin is our intern, Vin, he does all of the key jobs around here. He cuts out the cows to go in the paddock and the abattoir. Elis, you make Vin the first one.
Yeah. So just to recap for the listeners.
Yeah.
The challenge is Elis is going to... Elis believes that he needs to stir.
That's the cup I'm using.
Right, sorry, well, where's my cup?
Oh, so underprepared. He's trying to...
Recap for the listeners what we're doing.
So we're making two types of coffee. Elis believes that you should stir a cafetiere before pouring it. I believe that you should just press it using that sort of inch-thick layer of coffee to infuse the liquid. We're now getting our intern Vin to test the two differing types to find out who shall be king. I've selected my mug on purpose.
Have you got a cup, Vin?
Vin shouldn't be able to see which one goes into which mug, surely.
That's a good shout. So, Vin, can you stand in the corner and face the wall?
Okay, let me just get a cup.
Elis, you run and get a cup.
So I can't use... Oh, right, okay.
So, Elis, so what I will do now, listeners, is I will press my coffee while Elis is getting a cup. I'm now moving away from the radio. This is the theatre of the mind we discussed, giving extra atmosphere. So I've got a lovely, it's a 5-cup cafetiere. It's about half full. We've got a lovely inch layer of coffee. I'm now pressing it, and it feels good. It's going down. It's about 40% of the way down. You can just feel that water pushing through at high pressure. That mix of now well brewed and infused grounds. Elis has now entered the building. He's got his sort of, it looks a bit like sort of ditch water, what he's got, whereas mine would be served at a high-class cafe, such as Betty's of Harrogate. Other Harrogate-based cafes are available. I don't have to say that's not
Let's pour, hurry up.
So I'm pouring. Elis is pouring. Elis is now milking. I am nearly ready to milk. I'm using a slow pour. Oh, this looks promising for Roberts. It's got that lovely sort of froth at the top. Vin doesn't take sugar.
How do you feel, Vin? Do you feel tired? Ready for a coffee?
Ready for it.
Elis's looks like instant coffee. Vin, you're now ready to do the blind taste test.
Yeah, it is a blind taste test. So we've got a text in about this from Jess saying you might actually prefer each other's methodology. Well, it's happening. It's a fair test. Right, Vin, you ready?
Vin, enter the arena of Cafetiere challenge. So go for this one first. Take a lovely long sip. Handsome Vin with his whole life ahead of him.
It's good. Yeah, it's good.
Good. Out of 10?
Out of 10, that's an 8.
Nice. Take another sip.
An
just to
8.
test.
Okay.
Just an 8.
You've not left yourself very much to go there. This coffee's going to have to be a 9 or a 10 out of 10 to win, but that's fine. I'm pretty confident. What do you think of that, Vin?
Vin now tasting another.
Yeah, that is much worse.
Oh! How much worse, Vin? Put a number on it.
That would be a 5, I think.
A 5 from James. Oh, Robin's victorious today. It's been a walkover. Ronnie O'Sullivan drinking his pressed coffee. Elis, his head in his hands.
Oh my God.
It looks like the 1994 Wales World Cup qualifying.
Bear in mind who pays your wages, Vin.
I don't get paid for this.
Oh, don't you? Right, okay. Not
So it's not us.
It would be me anyway.
Well, that was an absolute pleasure. Thanks, Vin, for being correct and objective there. That's the end of the Cafetiere Challenge. You're listening to XFM. This is Busy Earnin', unlike Vin, by Jungle.